All right, let's get into it. You are a masterpiece, the radical idea that every human is art. It's a pretty bold statement, right? But we're about to explore this idea, and trust me, it might just change how you see, well, everyone, including yourself. So let's just jump right in with the question. What if you were a work of art? And no, I don't mean that in some cheesy metaphorical way. I mean literally. What if you, right now, are a living, breathing masterpiece? It sounds kind of wild, I know, but that strange thought, it's the heart of everything we're going to unpack today. And to really get it, we need to rewind a bit. So picture this. The year is 1983. We're in Austria, and a live television broadcast is underway. This is where it all starts. The stage is set for a moment that's going to totally flip our idea of art on its head. Okay, so during this pretty heated TV debate, the artist Joseph Beuys gets asked a simple enough question about his famous hat. But his answer? Anything but simple. He just comes right out and says it. He is the artwork. And not just him. He says the whole point, the ultimate goal, is for every human being to become the work of art. So, you're probably wondering, who is this guy in the hat? Well, that's Joseph Beuys. He was this incredible, revolutionary German artist. I mean, this guy was known for his performance art, for making sculptures out of really weird stuff like felt and fat, and for these super deep philosophical ideas about what art could even do for society. And that one statement he made on TV, man, that became his biggest legacy for sure. Now look, Beuys wasn't just trying to be shocking for the sake of it. Not at all. This whole idea was built on a complete rethinking of what art, and especially sculpture, could even be. He had a name for it, the expanded concept of art. And the idea is pretty mind-bending. For Beuys, art wasn't just a painting on a wall or a statue in a museum. No. Art was, well, everything. Our thoughts, the words we speak, even the way we build our society. He saw it all as one giant, creative, sculptural process. And he actually broke this down into two main types. First, you've got private sculpture. Think of this as the internal work we all do, shaping our own thoughts, our feelings, our consciousness. Then there's social sculpture. That's the external part, taking that inner creativity and using it to actually shape the world around us. And here's the kicker, the most important part. In his view, we are all sculptors, and our material, it's our own minds and the society we all share. Okay, so for a long time, this was mostly a cool idea that art professors and theorists talked about. But what happens when a group of artists decides to stop just talking about it and actually live it, to take Beuys at his word and bring this whole thing into the real world? Well, things get weird and interesting. And that's where the Joblin Factory comes in. They're this German art collective, and they make a really bold claim. They see themselves as the only true successors to Joseph Beuys. Their whole mission is to take his theory and push it into the real world. And believe me, they do it in some very unconventional ways. Yeah, their art, which they call Memento Multiples, is something else. We're talking about everything from mirrors designed to frame you, the viewer, as the artwork, to art made out of salmon, and even, get this, shirts and dresses made of actual meat. It sounds crazy, right? But there's a point. The goal of all these strange, visceral things is to kind of shock you into seeing yourself in a new way. Okay, but why the meat dresses? Seriously. Well, according to Jack Joblin, who's a key figure in the group, it's pretty simple. The shock of seeing that dead flesh is meant to do one thing: make you hyper-aware of your own living flesh, your living body. And that, he says, is the real art. You are. As you can probably imagine, the fancy traditional art world isn't always throwing open its doors for stuff like this. So what does the Joblin Factory do? They don't wait for an invite. They just crash the party. They stage these things they call guerrilla vernissages, which are basically uninvited pop-up exhibitions right in the middle of some of the biggest art shows in the world. And you gotta respect the commitment. For over a decade, they've been showing up at the Documenta Festival in Germany, which is like a huge deal in modern art. Back in 2012, they showed up with their salmon art. In 2017, they did a piece that connected to another famous Beuys work. And then by 2022, they just cut right to the chase. Their theme was Every Human is Art, and they basically invited everyone at the festival to be part of the exhibition. So, okay, we've got meat dresses, guerrilla art shows. What's the actual point of all this? Well, beyond all the shock tactics, there is a really deep ethical mission at the core of this whole thing. It really comes down to a simple two-step way of thinking. Step 1, you have to genuinely shift how you see the world and recognize that every single person, no matter who they are, what they do, anything, is a work of art. And step 2? Well, it just naturally follows, right? If someone is a masterpiece, you have to treat them like one, with all the respect, dignity, and care a masterpiece deserves.
And the end game here is, well, it's pretty utopian. It's this belief that if we all started seeing each other this way, we could actually build a world without all the exclusion and violence. One of the artists even suggests we should replace the idea of human rights with art rights, the fundamental right that every single person has to be treated like the precious work of art they are.
Which brings us to the final, really powerful conclusion of this whole philosophy. It's not about trying to become art. It isn't a choice you make. It's just a fundamental fact of being human. You can't not be art.
So I want to leave you with a thought to carry with you. As you go about your day, just look at the people around you, your family, your coworkers, that person you pass on the street, and just ask yourself, who is art in my day? And what would happen if I really believed that? How would that change everything?